I'm Alex Goetz, Toledo-based wildlife documentarian. So I started full-time filmmaking about 5 years ago. I had always been fascinated with documentaries, specifically wildlife films, and felt that some of the things that existed in real life were a little bit more unbelievable than some of the things people could come up with in a narrative film. In moments like this where you can actually see some native wildlife here in Ohio, these are actually great opportunities for anybody who's trying to get into wildlife filmmaking to just hone their skills a little bit and see how animals act. Apparently I'm the deer whisperer. So I've always been in love with animals and wildlife, and growing up I didn't really know how that was going to translate into a career. I kind of had the typical career goals that younger kids had, which was like being a veterinarian or a zookeeper or a biologist. But I knew that just my lack of math skills was not the greatest, so I tried to find other ways to exist in that world, and wildlife filmmaking ended up being the one. I partnered with my friend Justin Grubb to start making wildlife films on our own. So we were just paying out of pocket and traveling to as many places as we could to film different wildlife. And from there, we actually took a job at Toledo Zoo producing educational content there. And since then, I've gone off on my own to create my own film production company, Running Wild Media, that focuses on telling stories of wildlife and conservation topics. So currently, I am a full-time wildlife filmmaker, and I've been able to work with so many amazing clients in the past couple of years. One of them is actually the Metroparks here in Toledo, and they're doing a ton of really great work at creating new ecosystems for wildlife that maybe haven't had really habitable areas in Northwest Ohio, but also at conserving specific species that we find here. The challenges of shooting wildlife documentaries range all over, but there's a lot of amazing technology that goes into getting the shots of the animals for the films. Whether it's really long lenses shooting at huge distances, or it's drones or remote cameras set up in certain places, research is really key when it comes to filming these animals. We need to know exactly where to find animals and the different behaviors that they're going to be displaying. So once we know this and we really researched our topic, we can then figure out what means and methods we need to be able to film the animals. Living in Toledo has been really beneficial for my career, actually. Although we don't have like the most exotic wildlife here in Northwest Ohio, we do have some really amazing species, but we just have a really supportive community. In 2017, I was really fortunate to get to go shoot content for Nat Geo Wild over in South Africa. When our shoot was up, we actually rented a safari truck and traveled around 4 amazing African countries, filming the short film that you're about to see, Story of the Wild. Story of the Wild is a short film that just talks about the experiences of wildlife filmmakers. It showcases footage from all these 4 countries that we got to go to, footage from sea turtles, to elephants, to lions, and to leopards. And now, here's Story of the Wild.
The overwhelming vastness that is Africa makes it one of the last great wildernesses on Earth. As wildlife filmmakers, a trip to this tameless wild is nothing short of a dream. We were challenged in ways that we could never have imagined, but were rewarded on a scale beyond our own belief. This is a land of indescribable beauty and intense interactions. Africa is at the epicenter of extremes and is in a brutal conflict between its natural landscapes and the modern world. Despite containing nearly half of the world's undeveloped lands, much of its wildlife is in decline. A loss of any one of these animals leaves a giant hole in the fiber of life that holds us all together. And our greatest fear as storytellers is that these stories may be all we have left about the world we live in. With each moment, we lose an opportunity to save an environment in need and risk that it will become just another story for our children. As the health of our planet falls, we must stand up and exploit our talents to come together and give a voice to the voiceless and to be warriors in the fight for our planet's survival. We must open our minds and let the full majesty of the world sink in. Whether it be at your doorstep or far away, we can save it. We can save us.
One of the amazing films we've gotten the opportunity to be working on is a film about the American red wolf. A lot of people don't know the American red wolf even existed, but historically it used to be from eastern Texas all the way over to the East Coast. This wolf actually went extinct once in the wild in the 70s, but due to an effort to save the species, people pulled the last remaining red wolves out of the wild to start a captive breeding program. They were finally re-released in the late 80s back into a refuge in North Carolina, but they're still suffering from a lot of myths and misconceptions about wolves that people still have today. So with this film, we're actually hoping to change people's perceptions of wolves as this man-eating machines and really shed a light on how they are as animals.
We are on a mission to find one of the rarest and most elusive animals on Earth. An animal that has already gone extinct once in the wild, but is now back from the brink. We are in America's backyard, employing the latest science to go inside the pack of the American red wolf.
Oh wow, look at that. Right in broad daylight.
As wildlife filmmakers, we are here to give you an exclusive look at this secretive and often misunderstood animal. The red wolf is a highly efficient carnivore that once ranged from East Texas all the way to New York, but is now only found in a small refuge on the East Coast and again faces extinction. By working with the best scientists in the field, we hope to hear their howl again over the landscape and give America's wolf a second chance.
People crave something real in this day and age, and wolves are it. I mean, it's real nature, real life and death. I can't overstate how important this has been. I mean, really the fundamental question is, do humans have a right to take over the planet? The red wolf is an important test of our will to live with species that may occasionally be inconvenient to us.
So one of the important things that Running Wild Media focuses on is education. We really want to be able to inspire people in different communities around the world to care about the environment they live in. We actually started a 360 virtual reality series called Dive In down in the Caribbean in Honduras. We filmed on some of the most biodiverse reef ecosystems we could find, filming sea turtles and some of the most amazing corals you can see. By filming this, we're actually going to take it to classrooms where children can use these VR headsets to experience an ecosystem they may not be able to see, but they need to know to preserve.
Dive In is a new series that takes you and drops you in the water with us as we explore some of Earth's most incredible ecosystems. So we partnered with Kodak to use the best 360 camera technology to create an immersive experience where you could dive right along with us while we talk about the amazing underwater world. While following along, you are free to look around and get your own custom experience, and I bet you find something interesting that we missed.
We are here with a hawksbill sea turtle, and he's currently dining on a big sponge.
Whoa, that is so cool!
A major component of this project is to go back to the places we filmed with our completed videos and engage classrooms, so kids living right next to these ecosystems can learn about them and see them in a way that was previously thought impossible. We show them the unique animal behaviors and discuss the importance of protecting these animals to create the next generation of environmental stewards. Surround yourself with sharks. Get up close to moray eels. Feel the jaws of sea turtles crunch on sponges. These are just a few of the experiences we have created for you. So dive in with us, and thanks to the Kodak PixPro 360, experience the underwater world like never before.